What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I wanted to break down what's happening with Tesla stock and the overall market. I'm also going to break down some very important levels to be watching for when it comes to the way the market is looking. Also, some negative news that came out for Tesla as the media is once again screaming there's another Tesla recall, even though it's not necessarily a typical recall. So I'm going to break down more information about what this means and all of this could affect Tesla. Let me just mention a few things. I'm firstly not a financial planner, so make sure you take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, but it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. Anyways, for Tesla, guys, we saw Tesla push with the overall market during the PCE data release, and the data was actually pretty good. So the data was showing that inflation is going down, and it was better than what we were expecting, and very close to expectations for the most part, kind of mixed between those areas. So good data came out, the market popped, only to end up failing and then dropping all the way back down after that. So that's what happened to the market. We kind of popped and dropped. And Tesla also had a negative piece of news that came out that ended up affecting it. So the media is saying and Tesla has a quote unquote recall of 125,000 vehicles to fix seatbelt warning systems. So that's actually very important for them. It's 125,000 Teslas. That's going to include the 2012 to 2024 Model S, the 2015 to 2024 Model X, 2017 to 2023 Model 3, and then the 2020 to 2023 Model Y vehicles. That's what the NHTSA was actually talking about. They're the ones that called it this. Now, for all of this that's going on, the seatbelt warning system is supposed to provide audible and visual seatbelt reminder signals to different drivers out there. And they're saying that the NHTSA has found that on certain vehicles, the audible and visual seatbelt reminder signals were not going off at the time they were supposed to. And it's not really complying with federal safety requirements. So that's all it is, guys. It's not like Tesla has to like bring all the cars in and do something about that. It actually has more to do with a bunch of different things. Now, there's also a lot of excuse me. There's also a lot of warranty claims related to the condition. So Tesla, headed by Elon Musk, is going to start deploying an over-the-air software update to the affected vehicles free of charge in June. So that's all this is. It's just a software update because of this seatbelt safety regulation. That's going to be very important for them to fix, and I do believe it's very important to keep as many drivers and passengers as safe as possible. But this is something that's worth noting. The update is going to be removing dependency on the driver's seatbelt occupancy switch from software, and it's going to only rely on the seatbelt buckle and ignition status to activate the seatbelt reminder signals. So this is going to help them comply with a lot of federal regulations, and it's going to be very important that they do this for the safety of these people. So once again, is this a recall? Well, it's a quote unquote recall. I kind of wrote it like that because the media is screaming it's a big recall. Tesla's recalling 125,000 vehicles, this and that. But the reality is it's just an over the air software update that's going to fix this. So it's not your conventional car recall. And that's something else that's worth noting. All right, so that's the reason why Tesla kind of popped and dropped and why it's down again, because this negative headline came out, and it's not the best for Tesla, in my personal opinion. Now, I also want to call this out for everyone out there. I just want to say that all the PC data was pretty good. Below expectations or very close to expectations. That helped the market pump initially, but then at 9:45, we have the Chicago PMI coming out lower than expected, showing some weakness, and they used that as an excuse to dump the market again. And once again, the market was not really ready to get the big bounce that I was personally hoping for. So now the bearish cases become more imminent. I want to call out Tesla on this. Tesla needs to hold 180 for us to remain bullish. We have to try to hold that, and so far Tesla has struggled to do so. On top of this, Tesla has this big gap down here to fill at $168 a share. So from what I'm seeing, if Tesla ends up losing support at 173, especially going into next week, if we do lose 173, we could be dipping all the way down to 168 to fill this gap. So I wanted to give you guys a warning about that. The market is showing weakness, and we weren't actually ready for a big bounce quite yet. So we're at support. We haven't lost 173. Every time Tesla hits this, we do like to bounce. But that's my warning. If we get a bad piece of news next week, we lose 173, Tesla's going to be dipping. Now, we have a head and shoulders on Tesla. We have a left shoulder here, a head and a right shoulder. So that could lead to more downside as well. However, when you zoom out and look at the 4-hour time frame, even if Tesla does dip to 168, we could still be on a bullish trend as we have a nice inverse head and shoulders like structure developing for the much bigger time frames. So could Tesla dip to 168? It's a possibility. I'm not saying it will. We need to watch and see if we could hold 173 in order for that to develop. But if not, then it is what it is. So even if we do get some kind of dip, Tesla could still be bullish overall and still get a big run later on. For now, there is some weakness on the chart, so I want to call that out. Now for SPY, things are not looking that great for SPY. So I personally was hoping that we would get a big break from the wedge that SPY had. We had this nice looking falling wedge, right? SPY was breaking out of it today when we got the PCE data report. So I was thinking, in my personal opinion, that this would actually attempt to kind of like drop a bit, then start to rebound and try to push a little higher. That's what I was hoping for. That's my honest assessment. But instead, we ended up failing. And the move ended up failing completely, and we made a big move all the way back down. Now, this is a normal part of day trading. Sometimes unexpected things can happen, and now we're just barely holding this 520 support. We also broke below this, so it's showing some weakness. So, what does this mean for us moving forward? If we lose 520, we're going to easily fall to 518. That's going to be our next target. If we hold 520, we could try to rebound to 523, but it's not really ready to do that. And we're just barely holding up, so we are looking weak. So watch 520. If we lose this, there's going to be a bigger dip to 518. We will see if that ends up happening or not, but that's going to be key for how we end up moving. For Nvidia, I noticed that the 4 hour is very, very important for Nvidia. When you look at the 4 hour time frame, we have the 20 EMA at 1093. So this is how tricky it was when it comes to the way the market was moving. We came down to this green line, the 20 EMA. PCE data comes out, we get a big bounce on Nvidia, right? So you might think, hey, it's going to try to go higher. And then we just get a straight up projection and we're back down exactly where we are. So we dumped, pumped, dumped, back and forth like crazy. And now if we lose this 20 EMA, 1092, we're going to be dipping down to fill this gap. So, excuse me. So Nvidia is showing a little bit of weakness, and there is a risk of that dipping, in my personal opinion. Bitcoin is also showing some weakness. We have 67,000 as support. We could dip a little bit more. If we lose 67,000, I think we're going to be testing the 200 EMA around 66,300. So I'm seeing some weakness on Bitcoin. SPY is just barely at 520 right now, guys. It's looking kind of weak to me, so it might end up losing support. I want to be very careful with this. So we'll see if 520 holds. If we lose this, 518 is coming, by the way. For the QQQ, we had 446 as support, gap support. We're actually losing that right now. So the next target is going to be all the way down here at this 444 area. If that fails, 442 is coming near our 20 EMA, or the 200 EMA, excuse me. So we're looking kind of bearish on the QQQ. We really failed to hold 446, so that's a bad sign, and we are still favoring the bears. For Supermicro, we're also looking kind of weak. We have support currently at this 760 area. We have resistance all the way up here around 780 and also at 800. We lost 800, so that's a sign of weakness. So there's a sign that this could dip more. We will see if we rebound first before we continue to dip lower, but we're still looking kind of weak in my opinion. For a couple more, I also noticed that Meta is looking very weak. We have a head and shoulders like structure we failed to hold up. We were supposed to hold above 462. We actually lost that. So now it looks to me like it's going to be dipping down here to fill the gap at 52.5. So it looks a little bit more bearish. Amazon lost 178. I said we had to try to break that to turn back to bullish. We lost it. So now we're going to be dipping all the way down to 174, if not 172.5. I'm seeing weakness on the chart. AMC and GameStop are looking very weak. GameStop failed to break past 22. It's now rejecting. Could be falling to the lower 20s very soon. So I'm seeing a rejection here on GameStop. AMC was supposed to hold above the 200 EMA. We failed as well. So that's a sign that AMC is going to be declining down to $4. Unfortunately, guys, technicals are shifting in favor of bears. Bears are still winning, and SPY is barely holding 520. The month of May is also going to get not the best of closes. I wouldn't say the month, but maybe like the weekly close. If we get a weekly close like right here at 520, this is going to be very weak for next week, and I will be anticipating more downside. If we lose 518, watch 515. We also have another gap to fill all the way down here at SPY around 512. So that's going to likely get filled if we continue to decline like this. Okay, so I know that sometimes unexpected things could happen, guys, and I want to make it very clear that I am a human. I do sometimes make mistakes, and I wasn't correct about the market potentially breaking out after getting a decent PCE, and that's very, very counterintuitive. Like, we got a good inflationary data report. The data was very good, and yet the market just continued to decline afterwards. So that just shows how the market could be very illogical. But at the same time, I mean, from a technical standpoint, the market ended up wanting to just continue to decline. So technicals kind of trumped our data for the day. And the best thing I could do is just accept it and just be unbiased nonetheless. All right. So thank you all so much for listening. I'll be back in just about like 3 hours or so to give you guys another update. I just want to say I really appreciate all of you guys for your attention and all the kindness that you guys oftentimes give me in the comments. So for Tesla, We're showing weakness. If we lose 173, expect more downside. And it's unfortunate. We got some bad news about this quote unquote recall. It's not an official recall, but that's how the media is treating it. So we just have to accept it. All right. So thank you for listening, guys. Market is showing weakness for now, and we'll see how things go. Thank you and peace out.